getting into other ministries and churches where I began to see my giftings come forward, being used in ministry, used on the platform. Some people understand the anointing and have experienced the presence of God. I've done both. I've been a catalyst that God has used to pour his spirit out over people in services. The song of the Lord has come forth from me. I know the Bible. I'm not a Bible thumper, but I know enough of the word. I know enough about the Spirit of God and the presence of God and flowing in the Spirit of God. But the counterpart to that was being gay and being confused and feeling ostracized and feeling put down and feeling like no matter what I did, it's not that my sins cannot be forgiven, but I was made to feel like I am the sin. There is no separation. You're gay. God don't like it. I'm sorry. He loves you, but you're going to hell. Who wants to live like that? But so many people do, and so many people have. And I was on the verge of taking my life. Now, I will be very transparent. I have nothing to hide, and I have nothing to lose. All I want to do is help people. But I was broken, miserable, ashamed, embarrassed, confused, angry, bitter, disillusioned, and I was so, what's that word where you feel not incapacitated, but you don't want to do anything because you're so afraid no matter what you do or how you do it, it's just going to be wrong. I lived my life like that. I am 48 years old. I'll be 49 in December. And all I can remember is being afraid, having horrible anxieties, headaches and migraines, body aches, confusion, and shaking inside because of thinking God is going to send me to hell. And people in the church say, God don't send people to hell. We send ourselves, and so forth and so on. I understand that. I'm not here to talk about theology. I'm here to talk about what I know God has shared with me and what has saved me. So being in a place where I was being used by God, and it was clear, being in a place where people knew what I quote unquote came from because I never wanted to be gay. I spent years trying to hide it and trying to fight it. I spent almost a year when I was 17, every night crying myself to sleep, asking God to save me, to set me free, to deliver me. That I don't want to be gay. I want to be married. I want a wife. I want to be a husband. I want to have children. I want to be in ministry. I want to do all these things. And when I got it, it wasn't what I prayed for and what I asked for. And there was always this heaviness on me. So I did everything I could to do what I knew to do and to start cutting away the things that I felt I didn't want to do. And I lived like that for 17, 18 years. But then when I got to the point of wanting to take my life, none of it mattered. The fact that I was on the platform singing about the goodness of God while wanting to take my life was ridiculous. I had my pastor at the time prophesied to me, and I knew if any other time, I knew that day she had heard God, because we were standing there, Spirit of God is in the place, and she turned to me with her microphone and said, God said you had a thought. And in my heart, being fully transparent, I cursed God because I was angry, bitter, and confused. And I was like, I don't want to hear anything else you have to say. I have been hearing prophecy after prophecy for years, and yet this is where I am. And when she went into what God shared with her as to why I was even having the thought, she had my full attention. God had my full attention. And he told me why my fight and why my life has been so god dang hard. If I remember correctly, I know she said at least four or five times harder than the average person has to face. And it was so true, because the simplest things for me came so hard and through so many trials and so much unnecessary effort and loss. But that day sealed that I knew there was a purpose for me. I knew what I was experiencing had to be more than just the average bumps and bruises of life, because how adamant the devil was at taking me out by the hands of my own mother, by the hands of a family member, by the hands of a stranger. I almost drowned one time, and there are so many other instances where my life could have been taken or I could have been snuffed out. But God's mercy kept me, and because God wouldn't allow the devil to use anything or anyone to take me out, he was now pushing me to take my own life. And the whole purpose was not even so that I could be blessed and so that I could be famous and all this other stuff. And I don't even give a darn about fame. I want to be purposeful. The reason was for y'all, for the people who he knew when it was time would hear my story, recognize it, and relate and come to God. Oh no, there was no way that the devil was going to allow that. And since we are spirit first, and since I've already opened up this door, he saw it before I even got here. Remember, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. We already existed before we got to earth. And some of you understand that now. We are spirit first. And since the devil was there at creation, he saw what God put in you, and he set